our marking hexagons that go all the way up to and look at this wonderful border. Okay, so now I've used my blue line erase and gotten rid of any of the blue lines that I don't want to have there. And so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into this border, and I actually want to size it down a little bit. And I'm going to start with going down from the edge of the quilt or the 1/4 inch in where the binding would go to. I'm going to go down 1/2 inch, and we're going to do a sew line across there. And then I'm going to go down 1 inch. And I'm going to do another sew line under there, and then I'm going to do the same thing from the bottom up, and that way we're going to create this wonderful frame to kind of tighten in a little bit. And then I'm going to put some sort of filler in the 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down right to the 1/2 inch down line, and I am going to turn on my horizontal channel locks. Start across. I want to make sure not to lean on my bars. So that I don't get distortion on that line. So I gotta suck my belly in. Just thickening that line. Just like we did in the hexagons. Now obviously, if you do not have a machine that has channel locks, what you would do is you would mark a line 1/2 inch down from here and simply mark a line and just follow it with a ditch ruler. Okay, so now I'm down 1 inch from our second line we did, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat that same process on this one all the way across. And then what I'll do is I'll start from the bottom and mirror that same thing. Go up 1/2 inch and then up 1 inch, and that will create a beautiful border with extra sashes to do extra work. And like I said, I may decide to do some more sashes. I'm not quite sure. We'll see where we're at there, and then we'll make our decision about what we're going to fill in the hexagons as well as these extra areas. Okay, so the first way we're going to practice this is we're going to practice it from left to right. And what I'm going to do is we're going to start with a hook shape that goes down, but I'm only going to fill up that hook 3/4 of the way in this space. So we're going to go up, question mark, hook, swirl down, backtrack out, come up above. I'm going to do a traditional feather with this. Scoop around and under, backtrack in, come around and under, backtrack in, come around and under. And notice how I like to bring that back this way. I'm not coming straight down. Okay, I'm swinging it back and under the forehead of that hook. Now that gives me room, so my next one will lay right into there. I do my next hook shape. Remember, I only go up about 3/4 of the way. That way when I backtrack up and around, I can swing in that next petal or feather shape. 2, back and under, 3, back and under, and then my next one. So also, let's try a couple different petal or feather shapes. Come up, swirl down, back. Now I could come up and do my swirl back, bump the top, new frond, but swing nice and back, and then swing back. Now this one's going to give me 4 because of the numbers that does, because you have to do two feather fronds or 2 petals at a time with the swing back. So now I'm going to go ahead and let's do another type of a petal. Swing back. I could come back with a double bump, scoop under, throw in a vein, come around, up, double bump, scoop back, throw in a vein, back, double bump, scoop back, throw in a vein, back. So again, you could practice any type of petal that you want to put on here. You could also use that really cool bat wing or Gothic frond or petal, which is curve back, scoop under, swing around, give it a vein, up, scoop under, back, give it a vein, up, scoop under, come back, give it a vein, and then again you're going to work your way all the way over with that hook. I'm going to go ahead, revert back to my regular, scoop under, traditional long arm petal or frond, back, scoop away and back, put in that last hook, and done. So you're going to practice rows of each one of these options, and then we're going to move into how to mirror it from the center out. So now what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to mirror it rather than going one single way across and around a sash. So when I want to work from the center of a border out, of course, I would measure, or a sash or border, whichever one it would be. I measure and locate the center of that space that I'm doing this in. I give myself a registration line, and then what I like to do is I like to go ahead and throw in a bit of a teardrop. So I will throw in a teardrop, come around, and of course you could leave it a teardrop, but I love my little bumblebee butt. I like to do just these little curves, and then maybe fill that part in, come down, fill that part in with some sort of micro, and then I'll come down, and then I'll go ahead and I'll start here and work my way to the right first. So I will start with a couple fronds or petals. 1, 2, and then I go into my hook shape, 3/4, come around, 1, 2, 3. I like 3s. 3's a good number. Come around, 1, and notice how I go around and around the top and back. Vein, back, backtrack, back, whatever type of petals. And if you're doing the petals that you need 4 petals, then you need 4 petals. Come around, down, scoop, back, vein, backtrack, back, vein, backtrack, back, vein. Go ahead, I'm going to throw in another little hook that will meet right where I would end here, and that would be where I have a cornerstone or the edge of a border, however that works out. Cut my thread, and then I would go back here, lock my thread in the center, and then I would give myself the same exact thing, mirroring the opposite way. Back. I'm going to go ahead and do my hooks. I've got 1, 2, 3 full hooks with fronds and then a single. So I'm going to keep track of that. Now if I wanted to, I could measure so that I could stretch these hooks out to the same exact size. I wing it typically. I get used to the spacing, and 99% of the time it turns out right. But if you want to be exact, you could measure out so you know where to stretch that hook to. 2, back, back, 3, back, 2. One of those times I think I should have measured, and I'll just put a small hook there. You get the idea. Okay, so now that is the design mirrored. Okay, so now we have our extra decorative quilting in this inner sash that we created in the border done, just like the one that we just drew out. And then of course what I did after that is I went down another 1/2 inch and I created another blank space, because what I'm going to do is put filler in here around the hexagons, and then of course go inside the hexagons and do some design work inside the hexagons. So let's go ahead. Now with this one, what I did was I went ahead and I started in the center and took my swirls facing to the right, and then came back, and then from the center took my swirls or my hook shapes facing to the left, and we can follow that down to get a visual of how that feels. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to head down to the bottom area, and we're going to repeat that, and I'm going to show you how I quilt it out. Okay, so now I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to of course mirror to what we have up top, which means that my swirls are going to be laying up against the inside of the border. So I'm going to start first with a nice teardrop. Going to add my little bumblebee butt just like we did on the top. Then I'm going to fill in thicken those lines, trim my tails. Fill in my bottom area. Now thicken the line around the teardrop. Now I'm going to come up, swirl back, bump, new frond, throw in a few veins because I'm going to add veins to this. Come out with my hook shape. Backtrack out and over, curve around. I'm just going to do traditional feathers just like the drawing. Come back. Come back. swirl down, feather 1, 2, 3, swirl, wrap that feather around, curve around, 2, vein, 3, vein, next hook, and I'm going to work my way all the way down, repeating this to that end, and then I'll come back to the middle and I'll head to the left all the way. I'm getting close to the end of the row where I'm going to close it off, which is where the cornerstone would be. Back, 2, 3, stretch, 1, 2, 3, done, lock my stitches, and then go back to the center and start and work my way out. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to mirror what I did on the other side, so I'm going to come up, swirl back, bump the top, new front, add both veins, swirl out, feather, 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 swirl, feather, 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 and continue all the way down, repeating that. Okay, so now I am here, and now I am simply going to go up a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to do a nice extra sash to leave plain up above there.